connector.
Yours is a USB?
Yeah.
Okay, so this goes like that, and then USB. 12 big.
It's already. Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about a little bit about our college and our metrology education, the education that we provide in metrology, but I thought I should give a brief overview about the college. So it's a very old college, over 60 years, and it's a public college under the Ministry of Industry and Trade. And our core functions, as I said yesterday, is on academic research and consultancy. And we have 4 campuses as shown on the presentation: in the eastern side, central, south, and also in the Lexon, Mwanza. So in total, we have 511 staff, of which about half of them are academic staff, and we have about 58 PhD holders and 7 professors in the college. And these have been trained from different universities in Tanzania and outside Tanzania, universities like SUFE in China, University of Eastern Finland, also UK, Germany, and many other institutions. And we also build capacity of our staff, of which 91 staff are currently doing their master's and PhD. Actually, 62 are pursuing their PhDs, and most of them are supported by the college. And these are the universities in which our staff have been trained. Most of our staff in the Department of Metrology are trained in Russia, St. Petersburg University, but we also have other who have been trained in the Alberta University in Canada, University of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, but we also have Melbourne University in Australia, and then other universities in Europe and China. And we do provide master's programs in which 7 staff are trained at the college. In terms of as I said, our core functions are 3: academics. So in academics, first we have seen a growth in terms of enrollment. If we reflect back 5 years back, we had about 12,000 students, but at the moment we have 24,000 students. This is a 92% growth. And in terms of curricula, we focus mainly on business studies, ICT, and metrology studies. So in total, we have 7 bachelor, which is a 3 years program, and master's, which is a 1.5 year program. And currently, we have 28 curricula that are in preparation. And in our curricula currently, we have been changing the way we provide our curricula. It's not only a class-based curricula. Currently, we are introducing apprenticeship curricula in which students spend a semester at the college and a semester at the workplace. So this year, we are going to launch 2 new curricula in apprenticeship, which is digital and technology solution, as well as curricula in banking, in which students will stay 1 semester on campus and 1 semester at the bank. I'll explain later what we are doing in metrology. So in terms of ensuring that our students gain practical skills, apart from our apprenticeship program, we have also introduced business incubation program. This started since 2022, and currently over about 773 students join the program, in which students bring their innovation ideas, and then we mentor them so that they can start and establish their startup company or build a prototype. And we have also seen a number of students in metrology. So of the over 700 students who have joined the program, we have been seeing some innovative projects coming from the students. I've put the examples below there. One of them is one of the students last year developed an intelligent vehicle weighing and inspection system. That was, he developed an intelligent system to weigh the vehicles. And another one, it was a smart energy meter remote monitoring. this student wanted to develop an smart energy meter that can monitor remotely, also detect and also provide accurate billing for the electricity. So those are some of the innovative projects that are coming from the metrology department. So in terms of research, we do support research at the college, where we started with a budget which was 46 million, or like 15 million USD. But currently we support internally by setting a budget of 350 million per year, which if equivalent to like 150 million USD. And then we also do compete for international funding. And over the number of for the last 5 years, we have had 9 research projects which we receive funding from European Union, CODESO, which is based in Senegal, SPIDER, Academy of Finland, and currently we have 6 research projects that are looking into different areas in business, in ICT, and they are being supported by different bodies like European Union, Ministry of Agriculture in Germany, and also in Finland. And these research projects, we have seen a number of publications, have also helped us to publish a wide number of publications. As you can see, in the last 5 years, we are only publishing 70 articles per year. But last year, we were able to publish 116 articles. So in total, there are over 400 publications for the last 5 years. But if we check statistics from July up to December of 2025, we were able to publish over 100 articles at that time. And even when you look at the Google citations, the citation that we receive from Google Scholar, we have over 15,000 citations. And we have also been holding a conference. Since 2020, we started a conference that is an international conference in business and economics, of which we have held 6 successful conferences, which produced over 500 publications. And this year we expect to hold a similar conference that will be held in 22nd October in Mombasa this year. And Metrology is also part and parcel of the conference. So we wanted to see where the databases in which our publications are being published, the indexing databases. So when we looked at the data for the last quarter, which was 35 publications, on the last picture there, the last graph, you will see that most of the publications were published in journals indexed by Scopus, or Director of Open Access Journals, and EBISCO. EBISCO and Scopus, these are high-ranking databases in terms of publications. And just to sum up, all these initiatives have really helped us in terms of ranking in the country. When we look at the statistics on Ad Scientific database, our college has been ranked, it was 7th, that was 2024, by 2025, and currently we are ranked number 8th, and all these have been coming up because of a lot of work that we are doing in terms of research and publications. So in terms of consultants, which is our third core function, we are also doing a lot of consultants work in the public and private agencies. And in total, for the last 5 years, we have been able to do 25 consultancies. And also we offer short courses, in which for the last 5 years, we offered about 105 short courses. And we are not working alone. In the country, we work with public and private sectors, about 18 of them, and we keep on expanding the number of the agencies. And in the metrology side, we work closely with Tanzania Bureau of Standards and Weight and Measures Agents, and also industries. And internationally, we have been working with universities like University of Eastern Finland in Finland, FAU in Germany, SUFE, which is in China, it's a Southern Western University of Finance and Economics. We also have collaborations in Turkey and South Africa. These collaborations have helped us. First, our staff have been able to get scholarships. For example, currently we have over 19 staff who are doing their PhDs in different universities, like in China, in Finland, in US, in Russia, and the like. And also, we have been able to establish a double degree bachelor program in business administration with the Southern Western University in Finance and Economics. So with this program, it started last year with 17 students, and these students, they'll study for 2 years in Tanzania at CBE, and then in their third and fourth year, they'll complete it in China. So first, it's helping a student to pay a very low fee if they join in Tanzania, and then when they go to China, they pay about 3,000 USD per year, while in Tanzania, they pay about close to 700 to 800 per year. So it has really helped in terms of opening door for Tanzanians, but not only Tanzanians. I can see this is opening door to everyone who is able to join from within and outside Tanzania. That means from Eastern, Central Africa, you are welcome to join the program. And this program is designed in a way that when a student completes, they'll get double certificates. A certificate from CBE and a certificate from SUFE. SUFE is one of the high-ranking universities in China in terms of finance and economics. So you are much welcome, and you usually enroll students in October every year. Oh, something has happened. My presentation has disappeared. Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I want now to focus on metrology education. So our college is a unique college because, as I said, we have about 61 years since of our existence in 1965. So the program in metrology started in 1979. And so we have about 47 years of offering the program. So it started with a diploma, and then we expanded it to bachelor. So currently, we offer a basic technician certificate in metrology and standardization. This is a 1-year program. And then a student can proceed to diploma program, which is a 2-year program. The entry qualification for certificate is when you finish your Form 4 secondary education. And then for bachelor, it's a 3-year program, but currently we are developing 2 programs which are with the regulator, and we expect that we may start offering these programs next year. So the first one is metrology and quality management. This is it will be offered in apprenticeship mode, in which students, they'll spend a semester at CBE and another semester at the Weights and Measure Agency or TBS, because we already have MOU with these 2 institutions. And so that means students, it's a 3-year program, and students, they'll spend 1.5 year on campus and 1.5 year working, either TBS or WMA. So we expect that students, by the time they complete, they'll have the hands-on experience. Because currently our students, they only go for field work 6 weeks every year. But with this program, we expect that will expand the way they receive the hands-on experience. And another program we are developing is Metrology, which will be engineering program. We have already worked with ERB. ERB is the engineering regulatory body, and currently we are still doing consultative meeting with the stakeholders, and we hope that before May, we'll submit the program, the curriculum to the regulator. This will be a 4-year program because we are told an engineering program has to be 4 years, and so we expect that our students will expand more on that area. And as I mentioned yesterday, that we are working now, we are having conversation with St. Petersburg University in Russia. We want to develop a master program in metrology and standardization, of which in quality management, of which students will spend 3 semesters at CBE and 1 semester in Russia. So that is still under development. So in total, we have about 19 staff, as you can see there, who are helping in terms of offering. And the program in metrology is offered in our 2 campuses. As I said, we have 4 campuses. So currently we offer up to diploma in metrology that is offered in Dodoma campus, and then in Dar we offer up to bachelor program. So we also do research. We have a project that we are working with 3D Bear company in Finland in collaboration with EAMET University of Applied Sciences in Finland. So in this project, we have been developing a virtual reality program that can, it's a platform that can be used to teach metrology for our students. But we also offer a lot of short courses, and usually we can also develop short courses according to your need. We have been offering short courses to colleagues from Bureau Standards in Malawi, in Zambia, also in Uganda. So we invite for all NIMS so that we can collaborate and work more on that. And when you come to attend these programs, we do not offer alone. We work with WMA, work with TBS, so that you can also gain more hands-on experience from these other two institutions. So what is our future in terms of metrology education? So currently we have a project that is 93%. It's a 10th floor, as you can see on my left. So this project, this building is going to be called Metrology Complex. It's a construction project that started 3 years ago, and currently we have 2 phases. So the first phase is only dealing with the structure. So, and we hope to complete it by May this year, and then we'll announce now another tender for the second phase that we expect to do the finishing work. And this picture now, this will be our metrology complex, and we expect that by October next year, the project should be completed. So once this project completes, we expect that we should be able to host over 4,000 students in the building, 5 workshops in metrology, and then 5 labs for metrology as well. So we expect that upon completion, once we complete this building, we'll be able to expand in terms of our labs and also workshops, and also be able to expand in terms of offering, even enrolling students into the program. So for the college itself, we also expect to expand in Kilimanjaro. As you can see, it's on the northern side, which is very near to Nairobi. And with this campus, we want it to be a business, tourism and hospitality sector of excellence, based on the fact that our northern zone in the country is very popular for tourists, just like the way we are here in Mombasa. So we expect to expand more on that. And currently we have a consultant who is developing the master plan for the new campus. And for the other campus, we have a number of construction projects that are ongoing, so that we can really go in pace, as we have seen that our the enrollment, the number is growing very fast. So why should you partner with CBE? First, we can offer tailor-made courses according to your needs, but we also want to collaborate with other NIMS so that we can expand more in terms of research, based on the fact that technology is growing very fast, and metrology needs to go rapidly, needs to grow and be in alignment with the development of technology. But with our new metrology complex building, we expect to have world-class facilities, and we want to also start doing calibration and provide consultant services for public and private sector. So we want to also engage more on that. And also, as we expect to open new campus in Kilimanjaro, we also expect that we'll be able to establish a metrology department in that area as well. We have proven partnerships, as you have seen, and we are willing to expand our network. Asanteni sana. Many thanks.
Thank you so much, Professor Tandy Eda, for that wonderful presentation. It has given us good insights into what the College of Business Education does in Tanzania. I believe many of us really needed detail to understand what they do, and probably you can go there to benchmark, and at a later date probably establish not only a metrology institute, but preferably probably a national quality institute in each and every partner state that is going to promote the matters of standards and metrology as a whole. At this point in time, I wish to invite all the panelists for the afternoon session. so that we can begin our panel discussion as planned. I want to take this opportunity to invite Mr. Buberwa Matayo Renactus as our first panelist. A big round of applause for Mr. Buberwa Matayo. The next panelist will be Dr. Nyamweru Boniface from the College of Business Education of Tanzania. I wish also to invite Mr. Jadi Asman Kijum to be part of our afternoon panel. Mr. Tiedo Opal Odwok from the Republic of South Sudan. And finally, the only lady on the panel, Ms. Jenita Erasto Ishawaganzi. Most welcome.
You wanna go faster, faster, 1545. See to come through, see stress myself.
Oh, sorry. I forgot one of our panelists. I'm sorry, I was using the old program. Haji, you're also most welcome to join this panel. Sorry about that.
Mombasa jua kuna standard quality utati dial hiyo namba ukitaka guarantee hiyo ndio answer tuma SMS 023 check 023 nani kama tu 023 nani kama tu 023 basi soma hiyo label 023 tuma code hakikisha guarantee usipate umepima maji usipate umekupima maji sina standard ya quality usipate cheki kama hustler.
We'll try to make this as interactive as possible. I think the music system also needs to be calibrated so that we can save some time. DJ, thank you. We'll begin our discussion this afternoon on the first topic that we had, legal metrology and cross-border trade, addressing measurement discrepancies as non-tariff barriers. Directly to you, Mr. Buberwa, part of your presentation that you made early in the morning, you felt it important for us to do harmonization of regulations and procedures if we are going to facilitate trade. You clearly stated that once it has been measured in one country, there is no relevance in measuring it in another partner state. My question to you addresses the issue of trade complaints that you often see in the world of metrology. How certain will one partner state be that whatever has been measured in one partner state, for example, the Republic of Tanzania, is actually the same that is received on the side of Uganda? Over to you, Mr. Buberwa. Would you want to make a comment on that?
Thank you. Yeah, according to the topic which I have presented, in the issue of harmonization, I've said that measure once and accepted by all. Am I heard clear? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I chipped in by saying measure once and accepted by all. This doesn't mean that the other partner state is not necessary to measure. What you are doing, you verify. You know, when you verify, it means you make a check to see the compliance on the inspected goods. But you don't deny that these goods previously passed through the test on the country of export. What I wanted to see, the recognition have to be there. But we don't deny that other technical regulation should not stand. They should be on place, but you accept Why? Because the harmonization or mutual recognition agreement is done. Thank you.
My school of thought, as I pose that question, is that I wish to get to a state where we have, call it an EMAC, an ESC mark, more so for prepackages, where I am sure that if it is 10 kilograms in Tanzania, it's going to be 10 kilograms in Uganda. And if a product is stamped with that EMAC, I'm 100% confident that I can say it was 10 in Tanzania, therefore it should be 10.
Threatening our EAC countries. So these digital transformation for the ATGs, for the data-derived measuring systems, they just need to be implemented in EACs to harmonize and ensure the security and other stuff through it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jadi. I want to pose probably 2 more questions to the panelists and also give you a chance to ask them questions related to what they presented in the morning. Dr. Nyamweru Boniface, I don't know if I heard you right. When you're making your presentation, your opinion was that we needed more legal metrologists as opposed to scientific and industrial metrologists. In my opinion, as someone who practices legal metrology, I think if we did more calibration, probably would have less work on the side of legal metrology. Our approach in Uganda is fully centered about compliance. We want it to comply before we think of carrying out enforcement. What is your thoughts about that? Do we need more scientific and industrial metrologists or legal metrologists to carry out enforcement? What should the ESC tone be? Should we allow people to comply, or should we spend more money on enforcement? I expected Dr. Nyamweru and Ms. Jenita Erasto to make a comment over the same, because part of your submission, Ms. Jenita, you say that if you don't remind people to calibrate, they look at the cost of calibration and they simply choose not to calibrate. Let's share your thoughts about that. Over to you, Dr. Nyamweru.
Asante sana. Thank you for the question. It is this way. We know that the highest branch of metrology is scientific metrology. These are the people who defines the SI unity and maintain or develop standards. See? Apart from industrial metrology, who are applying some of metrological instruments which needs calibration, but there is another very big group which their task is to make sure that all 3 branches, they are being enforced. I mean, scientific, industrial, and legal. They enforce the law. Now, my point is, you see the way, by the way, from the history, those who were doing the job of legal metrology, they were coming from the field of police. They used to call inspector. That's where the name comes. Because people are doing fraud in the business intentionally. Calibration is there, verification there, but people are doing fraud intentionally. So to control the matter, you need a large number of people. As you see police in the country, what are they doing? Because people, they have the knowledge that stealing is not good, but still they are doing. That's why we have a lot of police. It's the same to part of legal and industrial metrology. I didn't say that scientific metrology doesn't matter. It matters a lot, but frauds are doing intentionally and other people without knowing. When I was doing at WMA, I was working there for 7 years. I went to make verification of petrol pump, and the customer even know that he's getting lost because every business was doing over delivery. And he thanks me a lot, brother, thank you very much. I didn't know that I'm getting, you see now. So how many petrol stations do we have in your country? How many shops which own weighing scale in your country? So the many you have, the many you need these people. So that was my point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nyamweru. As I traveled back home yesterday, we had our thoughts with a fellow legal metrologist. We realized that on a daily, much as we are doing our best to make sure that we verify equipment, all our customers are planning against us. You think you have sealed this point in time, someone looks at the software to see how best they can manipulate the software so that they create more work for us as legal metrologists. Our scope is also always expanding from the basics that we know that are done in each and every partner state to the new areas that have been highlighted in this conference related to data and communication, water meters, tax meters, oil and gas, and all that. The question is, where do we focus our energies? In my thoughts and opinion, I know calibration is doing the core, probably we need a 50-50, but this panel will tell us where we are leading to. I want to have my last question to the team that spoke about digitalization and then oil and gas technology before I open the floor for questioning and discussions. Digitalization. We've had challenges in Uganda related to web bridges where people keep on measuring. They even want to use a web bridge as an equipment for trade, fuel. Yet we all know in the EAC region, we are using trucks. In our discussion today, we also got to understand there's advanced technology that can be added to the truck to resolve all the conflicts that are related to the truck. Digitalization is one thing that we critically need within the region, as also a means of sharing information, that if we use that as a platform to share our findings, both positive and negative, what is happening in the country. For example, what is happening in the energy meter sector in Uganda, we think we are perfectly doing it in the lab. When it gets out in the field, it's a different story. Can we use digitalization as a means of communication, not only to prevent fraud, to control any losses that could happen in the sector of metrology, but also as an avenue for having our discussions to share information, knowledge, new findings on what is happening in our sector of metrology? Please speak into that, Mr. Haji.
Thank you so much, Session Chair, for your question. Where to focus? Where to focus? As I've said earlier, now digital measuring instruments need both level of care. We have to verify the hardware part and the software part, because the main aim of legal metrology is to protect consumer. So we are protecting consumer in all aspects. So where to focus is to protect consumer. How? As I said earlier, that legal metrology, we normally do calibration, you know, I use calibration, so verifications, even patent approval of measuring instrument before even going to market. So generally, I can say that as a legal metrology, our focus to protect consumer by verifying these measuring instruments. For this digital measuring instruments, we have to focus both on hardware and software. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would wish to open the floor for discussion. I request that probably the microphone moves around. It can't be a one-man show. All of us have to contribute to this discussion. If you have any questions that you'd want to pose to the panelists, please mention your name and the panelists that you'd wish to answer your question. We can take a round of 5, and then we take another. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Latisha, for having chaired this session. I think today we had a nice presentation from the panelists. And then I was thinking like this conference is an avenue where we interact with each other, we share experience, and then for some of us who are maybe lower in terms of modernization, we learn from our brothers. So I would like to know from presenter number 1, Renatas. He talked about the legal metrology and cross-border trade. He mentioned that delays in cross-border transfer of goods becomes a challenge to the country of destination. I just wanted to know, it's also a learning process for some of us. Would you mind share with me how many companies that are dealing with you with regards to the COC or Certificate of Conformity? And then what are the regulatory framework that you shared with this company? The second question goes to Janita. Janita made a very nice presentation about the moisture content as one of the quality parameters. I just wanted to know, you have done a lot of analysis comparing your results based on different moisture meters. I don't know, did you take into consideration the quantity of the sample, the time, and the temperature when you are doing the analysis that made you to get different results? And the second question is, which machine is reliable? Is it the moisture meter or the oven when it comes to the analysis of moisture content? And the last one is like an advice from Jadi, who talked about telecommunication billing. I believe South Sudan is one of the countries in East Africa with high which is expensive in terms of communication when it comes to internet or normal call. Maybe the legal metrology department is not carrying out its duty as needed. I don't know, what is your advice to me so that I see in the future such thing did not happen? Maybe we are being cheated by the companies operating, the communication companies operating in my country, or maybe we are not aware that this is the legal procedures we must take in order to make sure that we are not cheated when it comes to communication billing. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Can we take 2 more questions and then we allow the panelists to respond?
Thank you, panelists. Today, I look at you and I see the future and solutions in legal metrology. And in that case, the brighter side of the East African region. The issues that were brought up by Jadi are critical issues. You agree with me, that's an area that is silent. Everybody believes that they will operate by faith. Unfortunately, faith is also referenced. So where there is no reference, then the faith does not exist. So mine is to ask Jadi, as you look at that and looking at our ESC as we are, and the problems you're talking about are actually even out there, the outer, wider sector of Africa and other regions. But we want probably to do something so that we can assist the other regions. In your study and analysis of this problem, can we, as the EAC, set up a working team to come up with, 1, regulations and procedures of how to handle these sectors? Because I don't know about the other region of the other member states, but in Kenya, the highest tax comes from that sector of telecommunication. But unfortunately, it is not known whether it's the actual tax as is due. So probably by touching on that, we could be handling a very big section within the income of the countries that we have. so that we reduce the load on the citizens in paying taxes. The other issue is on the cross-border. A lot has been done there, and in Kenya, we're currently now doing a trade development bill, which has focused for the first time on SMEs. Because as you highlighted, they face the highest constraints when crossing borders, and yet they are the people who are supposed to be doing the business there because they are the neighbors. So in your view, this kind of bill, like the one Kenya is coming up with, could it be in order if probably the other regional states could also look at how to do that and put together the frameworks that will now ensure this class of people does not have to go through those chains to be able to move goods across. For digital seals and software, my brother, you talked about the element of the changing times. As you say, the issue is not how to ensure the software does not become an open point for people to walk through and mess up an otherwise secured instrument. But the issue is in how we bring that to domesticate in our countries so that we understand what to check for. So in your view, would it be in order to say, work around such a thing with the areas, with the entities of, or those countries that could be having an idea of what needs to be done, so that it's a regional issue? We look at it and ensure this element of using the software to cheat or to sidestep the legal mechanisms is brought down. Like, those are my three questions to ask. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm seeing one last hand, so I'll allow Simon ask questions and then give the panelists a chance to respond to each of their questions.
Thank you very much, our distinguished panelists, for the wonderful presentations that we were able to witness here. My questions, I only have two questions. The first one goes to Jadi. I was listening to the presentation, and it seemed like we are in trouble because all these things where these people are billing us and we are all stuck, we don't know how are we going to get out of this. My suggestion is, because everything to do with data has to do with time. I don't know, maybe somebody from a time and frequency lab can tell us about what their capacity is and what they cannot handle with respect to these telecommunication billing problems. That is the first one. The second one, sorry. The second one was about the software. Software testing. Software testing in relation to measurement devices, you can see it in weighing scales, and again you can see it in, for us, for example, I was recently approached by a company which is running our expressway in Uganda. And they had a requirement
they wanted a third party to test their payment software for the expressway. So still, I think it comes to the same thing. If we are looking for, because you were talking about the fact that you verify software, but now software verification is much more deeper than simply looking at the version and knowing that this version is okay, this one is updated. It tells more into testing of the code to see whether it has integrity, data integrity, to see whether the software is tamper-proof, to see whether it is consistent. So verification of a software is deeper than simply checking. I wanted you to talk more about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Simon. So I think we'll start with the lady who has not spoken anything yet. Ms. Janita, over to you.
Thank you. I got directed to the question from my brother from South Sudan about the moisture meter and the analysis that you have done. You have asked about the quantity of the sample. When we talk about the grain moisture meters, they have different models and they use different quantity of samples. But every moisture meter has got the directives of which amount of sample do you use, and we considered that we were using every moisture meter has the directives that how much it has to be used in the terms of amount of the sample. As it was different models that was there, but we made sure that we consider every model and their requirements. In the terms of temperature, it was considered, and of course it is one of the uncertainty contributors, so it was considered. When it comes to time, as we are taking the measurements and analysis, we are taking the sample from the same place and the meters from the same place. So it was the same time that we get the sample, and around the same time we measure meters on around that certain area. So the discrepancy between time was not that much. But also the analysis done was, for example, for moisture, this was a feed activities where we were measuring on the same day. You measure moisture in the oven, and the same day that sample you measure in the grain moisture meters. So there was no time difference between moisture measurement between sample in the oven and in the moisture. And that was done like that because there is, we know moisture variation is uncontrollable when it comes to grains. It varies very easily and with the conditions. That's why we made it the real measurement, considering the time that you measure the same day in the oven and you measure the same day in the grain. And of course there was variations. You measure the same sample today. When you come to measure it tomorrow, you find another moisture content different. So to take account of that, we had to make it the live analysis, the live practical. But also you have asked about the reliability of the machines. When we talk about moisture measurement, they are very variable. But the most and recommended procedure or method to use is an oven procedure. But when it comes to the field, when you go to the field, it is not practical for a farmer to wait every day for 8 hours or more than 8 hours to get the real moisture of that sample. That's why there is a use of these digital grain moisture meters. These digital moisture meters, we call them reliable when they are calibrated. That's why we emphasize much on the calibration and the regular calibrations, because they are not so much stable that it can make that outstand the drifts and environment changes. So that's why we emphasize regular calibration of them to make the measurement consistent and reliable. But also, during the study, you have said about the quantity of measurement and that and time and the reliability of the machines. All this comes in the group of the handling of the measurement and of the equipment of the measurement. As I said during the presentation, the many people that are doing those are measuring that moisture in test farm are their SMEs. They are not aware of the technical part. They are not aware of most technical requirements. So you may find that sometimes there is a variability of measurement because he knows that I have to measure weight, I have to weigh the sample and put in the moisture meter, then get the results. And you found that the moisture meter needs, let's say, sample 800 grams, but he measures 1 kilo. And put in the meter. So the result that you will get when you measure 800 grams will be different than the ones you measure when you put 1 kilo. So the knowledge of the handling, how to measure, and what to consider during measurement is very important. That's why I emphasized much on having the training and the awareness program on them so that they can counter those discrepancies. Thank you. I think I have answered your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Janita. Over to you. Over to Mr. Theodore Opal, who has not yet said anything. Kindly hand over the microphone to Mr. Theodore Opal. Did you have any questions directed to you?
No, I don't have.
Okay. I think the questions were, the ones that I remember listening to, were addressed to Mr. Jadi Asman. You want to make some comments?
Sure. There's two questions that they have been asked. The first one is from the Sudan, right? And South Sudan. And another one is from Kenya, from Mr. Omwana. But the first one, it was based on the recommendations, right? But the suggestions on how we can handle the issues of telecommunications, I guess they might be the same with Mr. Omwana. And the third one is from Uganda. So I'll make this answer like this. Through my presentation, I was addressing some recommendations for harmonization and other stuffs. I mentioned some of the sources of measurement uncertainty in billing systems. And one of the things of the uncertainty, it was the time synchronization errors. So these time synchronization error, they might be the solution for us to start working with. I think this question is going to be answered through your question as well. How does it work? We need to establish a time reference standard in EACs, country member state. We do not have a time reference standard. For example, I can give you one example. We are using the phones calling through one place to another. So through that chain of communication, these calls, they are going through every stages. There is a lot of servers which stores the informations and data. So these servers, from one server and another server, they might have two different time. For example, server 1, they might have maybe 10 o'clock by the time they receive the calls. Server number 2, at the same time, they might receive the calls, but they might be different. So we do not have the standard that we may rely on, so as we can trace to see the error and MPEs. So these vendors, everyone, they have got their systems that they can rely, but they do not have the reference standards. So the harmonization goes to EACs because they are the ones who regulate some of the telecommunications and other areas. They need, or we need, to make sure the investment on the time reference standard is achieved. That is going to be the best solution for us to start with. Because once you go through the telecommunication vendors, they are still making a lot of profits through the calls, voices, bandwidth. Once you ask them what is the reference time you are following, they won't give it to you. We have the KEBS, right? We have TBS and other NMIs, which we are all rely on the lab for the traceability of our instruments. But if you go through it, you won't see the time reference standard in any of the NMIs which we have right now. So the gap will be still there. So we emphasize the EACs to invest through these country member state and also the regulatory authorities, telecommunication authorities. They have to, the Metrology Institute, the legal metrology authorities, they have to establish a regulations, a guidelines on how to handle these things. For example, in Canada, they have the guideline of the software-based measuring system. So this software, this guideline, they cross-cutting through a lot of areas on which the time and softwares that are monitoring the measuring instrument, they regulate it, and they establish the guideline that helps them to verify and control those measuring instruments that are controlling controlled by the softwares. So the EACs need to harmonize the country member state to establish the time reference standard, and also we have to establish the guideline and regulations, and also we need to do some amendment and also awareness through our peoples and address our roles, what we need to do, and et cetera and et cetera. So I think I answered all of your questions. There is another question.
I wanted to give some information. When I was asking that question, I was aware that Kenya Bureau of Standards has a time and frequency standard.
Okay.
So I was actually asking, my question was saying, why can't, you could consider a collaboration with them to see, because if they have a time and frequency standard, and the problem is that we cannot measure the times, the billing times and so on, then in my opinion, it's something to do with buying equipment, and then you test it, you have it calibrated by the people who have the what?
Oh.
The standard. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for the information. I did not even know if Kenya, they have the time and frequency time standard. Yeah, we can start with that. Maybe the EACs now, they can harmonize the country member state. And also from there we can learn from Kenya. Then we have to establish the EAC guideline and requirement on how we can verify those telecommunications vendors and other stuffs. Then they can harmonize, they can establish the panels with other telecommunication vendors and give them awareness on how does the metrology we can chip in and we can do such kind of verification. That will be the good initiatives. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You answered part of it. And probably what he says, we have the problem in that telecommunication sector where probably we need to step in as legal metrologists. But then the standard is there in CAPES. But the people who are in the telecommunication sector come in through their parent companies outside the region. And they trace their timing to that side instead of our national metrology institutes. That is the truth. That is why you will find Safaricom has a time setting that is slightly different from Airtel. So that's why I was saying we need to look at it and see, as legal metrologists, how do we come up and do a framework and prepare a law? Because it's that law which will point them to the NMI to ensure that if they are working within a particular country, then their traceability of the time should be to, then we can be able to enforce it. As you say, probably what I would just say, session chair, could we, looking at what is there, say, since the EAC has a legal metrology experts working group, can this issue be put to that group officially, then the presenters are co-opted and see how to move them? Because what they have said here is already with us and we are not giving a solution. Then there are others coming, the monitoring of the trucks. They are not in this region, but in legal metrology, the sciences and technologies will
If your hand is still up, probably make a comment on the same, and then we'll get to the next panelist, and I'll also allow another round of questions as we conclude. Anybody who has a comment related to the submissions of Mr. Jadi?
Yeah, just to add on to what our colleague from Uganda said, indeed Kenya has a time and frequency laboratory, and we contribute to the international coordinated time, the UTC, for a long time. Actually, we've been doing that from, I think, 2010. So that one should not be a problem. And our telecommunication company, the biggest one in the country, Safaricom, has their equipment calibrated by Kenya Bureau of Standards. Even Airtel has their equipment calibrated by Kenya Bureau of Standards. So it is something that is happening. Probably people are not aware, but the telecommunication companies in the country already know. They already know the importance of calibration, and they're calibrating the equipment, and it's traceable to the second, and through the National Metrology Institute in Kenya. So that one was the clarification I wanted to give to Jadi. But just because I have the microphone, I would want to do a question to Janita and ask her when she was doing
Dr. Caleb, can we kindly hold the questions for the second round and give an opportunity to the panelists to respond, because I'm still going to take the microphone around to get the last set of questions. Haji, I remember there were some questions that were directed to you. Please kindly make quick responses to the same, because Engineer Kobori is also looking at me saying, time. We're talking about matters of calibrating time, so kindly keep time as you respond.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Omwana, for your recommendation and contribution you gave it to me. But I have to make clear one thing. What I said is...
Mr. Mbwana, I'm struggling to hear. I don't know if all of you can hear his
yeah.
responses.
Hello?
Yes,
Okay,
better.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Omana, for your comment and your suggestions. I received it. But I wanted to also clarify one thing, that what I said is we do have standards and guidelines that explain how to do software verifications, like OIML D31, WellMake Guidelines version 7, and others. But I said the gap is we are not incorporating these guidelines in our routine verification. I agree with you. Even Tanzania, we are doing this software verification when the instrument is coming for the first time. I mean for patent approval. After that, the instrument will be going to the market. So in daily verification, to ensure that the instrument is still conform to the requirement, we normally lack that part of integration of this standard. And I told you it's not even Tanzania. And even I showed you the paper published from Asia Pacific Legal Metrology Forum that present there is a lot of member countries have been presenting the way they are verifying their. I took example of fuel dispensing pump. You can go to the internet and just search APLMF guideline 4. You will see the report, and they're just like a survey. They were just collecting to see how they are doing verification of measuring instrument. The way they reported that report in that paper is the same way we are doing. As I said, we are not doing wrong because what we are doing is exact to the recommendation of OIML. But that recommendation came before introduction of this software verification or OIML document. So bridging the gap, I propose that framework so that we can start with that. I think you will enjoy more when you when you will refer this documentation, OIML, D31, and WellMake. Also, I'm taking this opportunity to answer the second question from Mr. Sorry, you didn't introduce yourself, so I can't. Okay, thank you. I think if you can read this WellMake document and OIML D31, this is guidelines and recommendation on how to verify measuring instrument or software within this measuring instrument. Because in this document, you will enjoy more because they first categorize the instrument in a level, in software protection level, which instrument have low level, medium level, and high level. Even in verification or examination of this measuring instrument in this document have been categorized. Which one has high level risk, which one has low level, which one has medium level. So even software verification of this software within this instrument need to be followed according to this recommendation, because there is other instruments that do not need even to consider software verification. That are those with low level. And other with medium level, they just need you to check the verification. I mean, to check the identification of the software to ensure that it is the same to what
have been getting pattern approval. And the high level, now it is need software verification. So I think time is not good, but I think it's not enough. But I think you will enjoy more when you read this recommendation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mwana Haji. I think you've given us some guidance related to the same. I enjoy reading OIML recommendations, but like the word says, they are recommendations. I believe tomorrow we are going to discuss issues related to EAMET, how we want to run metrology within the region. We have a good platform in the EAMET meeting we are going to have in Rwanda, the other one in Arusha, and probably the ASO meeting that we're going to have in Uganda, where there's a technical committee on metrology that can discuss these hard areas. The recommendations, you can't hold a recommendation against anybody in courts of law because they're not mandatory. But it's just food for thought. I am going to ask Mr. Bubera to make brief comments. Then we have 3 more questions from the audience. And finally, we should be able to close the session. Mr. Bubera.
Thank you very much. I think there was a question from Mr. Hatali on the issue of delay challenge. And you talk on the issue of COC. Yeah. Of course, COC is one of the documents in customer clearance, but not only that. It depends on the nature of the goods which is imported. There is a number of certificates which sometimes is required. Due to digitalization, we have systems which, we have a system depending on the institution. Even you ask a number of institutions operating at the border. I've been giving the example of the border of Namanga, because I've been there for a number of years. But for agencies which operate straight away on clearing goods, is 80, not less than 8. But there is almost 17 agencies, including border security agents. I think you know how the border operates. There is so many protocols. But for the issue of clearance, we have a number of agencies. If it requires the certificates, we have a system of single window where we use it for clearance, or that now we have a system for TRA that is called Itanoga. We are part of that process during the upload of the document until the cargo arrives at the border. What is done, all the required document on quality issues or metrology issues is done prior the good to arrive. So we don't expect the cargo to come at the border, and it's when the clearance starts. There'll be a great delay. For the government to eliminate such a situation, all things are done before. And we do say, as you heard about my presentation, that metrology is not it's not a non-trade barrier, but rather a trade driver. We have a role, despite we are mingling on the issue of qualities and metrology issues, we make sure that we facilitate trade. How do we do? As you see, we put a seamless process, and in other end, we counter that all goods in Kenya side, which is entering in Tanzania, those goods belongs to Tanzania. And all goods coming from Tanzania to Kenya, if they are waiting to cross border to Kenya, even if not yet, but as long as they are at the border post, those goods belong to Kenya. If you have such a mindset of trade facilitation, you will find that, okay, our people have already paid the tax and they do some procedure to receive these goods. Me as expert, I have to make haste to facilitate to fast track the movement of those goods. So if we bear such a mindset, you will find that your fellow Sudanese, they are waiting for those goods which are in Kenya side. Is that Kenya or Kenya side, right? Yeah, they're waiting for that goods to cross, to go. And the people are waiting to shop and to use. But what you do? You do your part that you don't compromise on the issue of metrology. Yeah. I think for Tanzania, we have such a system which all the agents meet. All the certificate required is uploaded. When the goods comes, it's just a verification, take samples, we do it timely, then it doesn't take that much longer. But if you specifically want to know about COC, my counterpart TBS will explain in detail, but I was generally going I was highlighting that all the certificate, including phytosanitary, weight and measures, permit, whatever is required, is uploaded before the arrival of the goods. Just like as you buy the car in Japan, you pay even the tax before you have seen even a car we see only the picture. But physically, you get it already paid, only for clearance at the port, and they take your car. Yeah, secondly, there was a question from Director Omwana. So was it about small-scale traders? Or if it's how I catch it, that how can we harmonize how to assist these small-scale traders? Was it that question? Yeah, of course. Okay.
Yeah, I was saying there are many efforts towards facilitating a cross-border trade, but mostly it had been focused on the big traders. Now, the small traders, it was found out, are the ones who are suffering most. And they are now...
Mr. Wamona, probably you need to speak a little bit louder.
Okay. Can I be heard? No?
Better?
Yes, I was saying, much as frameworks were being put in place for cross-border facilitation, it was targeted at the big players with the trucks. But then the people who are moving most of the goods are the small traders, the SMEs. So those are the ones who are getting the biggest bottleneck. Now that countries have started looking at that, and I gave an example of Kenya now developing a trade development bill, but would it be in order if we now scanned around all the countries to see how, as they get these issues sorted, that they will end up with one unified system which can then bear fruits, other than just probably it is Kenya has done this and has a bilateral with Tanzania. Then there's a problem on probably Tanzania and Uganda border. So that's what I was asking. Can we now translate this and say we now zero in on SMEs to see if we can facilitate them? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wamwana. I don't know if that question is directed to Mr. Buberwa, but I think it's food for thought for us as we engage into the matters of the East African metrology system tomorrow. Can we defer the question to tomorrow as one of our topics for discussion? Kenya, please guide. I think so. We can refer that to our business that we are going to discuss tomorrow. I'd promised to give a chance for 3 questions, but time is not on our side. Can you kindly allow me get 3 questions from anybody who has not yet asked something? Then we conclude this session. Kindly introduce yourself and the person you're targeting. Dr. Caleb, you've gone so far away. There was a question from the director of the South Sudan Bureau of Standards. And lastly, we'll give a chance to Chief. No, Chief doesn't want to say anything. He was just commenting, making a brief comment. Okay, kindly introduce yourself and ask.
Okay, thank you. My name is Akasian Mwasafu. I come from Agrochemical and Food Company. We are ethanol producer. My question goes to Tieda Opal. Before that, I wish to thank for your insightful presentation. I would like to seek clarification on the applicable accurate standard for cathode transfer flow measurements. In a recent case, an OML recommendation permitted an accuracy limit of about 3% on our cathode flow meter, which was also reflected on the national legislation, Kenya. However, the Weight and Measure Authority issued a certificate of verification with an accuracy level of plus minus 0.25%. This became what expenses, which led to rejection by even Revenue Authority themselves, who introduced that 3% due to the perceived risk of measurement uncertainty being exploited for loss of oil malpractice. Based on your experience in hydrocarbon measurements practiced in South Sudan, oil fields, which specific OML recommendation or standard do you apply for cathode transfer flow meters? Additionally, I wish to understand maybe if is it 3% or you have another standard, which I need to understand if whatever this came from plus minus 2.5% was also from international recommendation, authority, national legal or national legal provisions. I think, thank you. That is my question.
Thank you so much, sir. The microphone goes to Dr. Caleb, and finally to the Director, South Sudan Bureau of Standards.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Now, I just wanted to get a clarification. It's not really a question. This one was for Janita on the issue of the on a research. There was the issue about the comparison of the oven method and of the moisture meters. I wanted to know, first of all, she in her explanation she said that she did 8 hours of she put the sample in the oven for 8 hours at 105 degrees. First of all, I want to understand why 8 hours. I think 3 hours is good enough. 2 to 3 hours is good enough. So I wanted to understand why 8 hours, and then how many samples did she do? Like how many replicates did she do to come to the baseline? And then how did she compare? How was the comparison of the oven method and the moisture meter method? That one was not given. She just said that the moisture meters were calibrated and all the values were more or less uniform. So I wanted to know, first of all, how the moisture meter measurements compared with the oven method before calibration, and then how the moisture meter methods, how the moisture meter measurements compared with the
South Sudan. The questions are becoming many. We can agree on how we move forward because we still have the panel discussion that we've not yet handled, and yet we have to leave this place at about 4:30. So can I take those three first of all? I'm also going to implore everybody who is presenting a question to keep it brief to the point so that you can be able to create time for other people to ask as well. Over to you, Director.
Okay, thank you for giving me this chance. You know, I'm still very concerned with the issue of cross-border. Very important, because we are the region. And that recommendation comes to us in this conference, need to be addressed in future. In fact, maybe if I don't understand well, there is problems, as I heard from the presenter, in the borders. You know, we have import goods within the region. I want to actually know, you know, when we are discussing, we should give example. If there's any problem, my question is like this. I don't know who is that. Renato. Renato was talking about all this. Thank you, Renato. Most of the goods, import and export, of course, delay in the border. I just want to know from you so that we are the members of EAMET, so that we address this issue in the coming meetings. You say most of these goods are delayed in the borders. I think by getting this evidence, I want to know, did you witness some of these challenges in one of the borders, which partner state bordering that partner state, and they have a problem in the border concerning the import or export goods? This is my question going to you, because why I ask it, it has to be addressed, because most of this we discuss in EAMET meeting, even this harmonization of the regulations, we discuss first in Rwanda, and then we move meetings in other state partners. As one of my colleagues has said, concerning road tankers, there was an issue between Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania, but it was addressed. Unless even issue of regulations, we discuss over it, because the regulations are different. They are guiding us in all the partner states in our activities. When coming in the borders, you expect there is challenge. This challenge cannot be completely cancelled. So I just want to see if one of the borders have this problem, so that in the future we shall address. This is actually my question, but I really appreciate your recommendations.
Thank you so much, Director. I happen to be one of the people who are part of the organizing team for the Regional Metrology Conference. In the ESC culture, there are things that we talk about in the bedroom and others that we talk about in open space. Tomorrow, starting 9 a.m. in the morning up to 1, we are going to have a discussion on EAMET. Not necessarily EAMET, but all these bedroom things, cross-border conflicts, who didn't facilitate whose trade, what do we want to see in EAMET in the region. I implore all of you to come as early as possible. Let's meet here as early as 9 in the morning. We'll have an open forum as the EAMET family to talk about things that have gone wrong in the region, what we'd want to see improve in the region. Because when it comes to the meeting that we are going to hold in Rwanda, chances are very high that we'll not have the big numbers we've had here today. Usually countries send 2 to 4 representatives who may not even be able to explain what is happening in their country, or better still, in the region. So just like Mr. John Wamana raised a very pertinent issue about metrology, there's another one about cross-border trade, what went wrong where and how it was resolved. I request that probably we defer that question to tomorrow and we deal with it in detail. I'll remember to remind Engineer Kobur, Kenya as the lead partner state that will be heading tomorrow's session, to remember those 2 questions. Please take note, Engineer Kobur, of Mr. John Wamana's question as well as the director's question, so that it is one of the things that we are going to discuss tomorrow. There was also another one that was raised, I don't remember, but I hope you've been capturing for tomorrow. Joseph, is it related to this, or because I promised to give a chance to 3? A question, any question that is going to come should be addressed to the presentations that were made in the morning by the panelists. There was a hand at the back, and that will be the last hand. Joseph, and the hand at the back. Then we are done for today, after getting the responses.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Mine is just a small question to South Sudan is Mr. Tiedo. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Tiedo, thank you for your presentation. I saw the work you are doing in South Sudan. I was very interested with the calibration of your equipment, of your instrument used at work. You said that the equipment are traceable to international standard. As we know that traceability, of course, is accompanied by calibration. Now, my question is, where do you calibrate your equipment? As we know that one of the objectives of this gathering is to support each other in East Africa. So, as I know, as the South Sudanese presented, of course, they are not so much advanced in metrology. So, we depend each other in East Africa. So, can you tell us where are you calibrating your equipment? The second question, you told us you have a pipeline which is passing through Sudan. As we understand now, we have the East Africa crude oil pipeline, starting from Uganda to Tanga, Tanzania. How do you see the importance of connecting this pipeline of East Africa, rather than going to Sudan to benefit other region instead of benefiting the East Africa community? Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. I'm taking the last question from the back. Kindly introduce yourself and then raise your question to a given panelist.
Good evening. So
Good evening.
I am Warren Kibinge. I presented yesterday. My question is to Janita, and basically it's adding to what Dr. Luvonga was asking. How do you take into account other volatile compounds that are present in the grains? And to what SI unit do you draw your traceability in the measurements?
Thank you. I think that marks the end of the questions for today. Over to the panelists, starting with Janita.
Thank you. I will start with questions from Dr. Caleb. You asked why we used 8 hours in the oven instead of 3 hours. When you're measuring moisture content of the crops, there are 2 ways you can do. You can do the whole grain, or you can grind and measure the grinded one. In this case, we do measure the moisture content, or moisture, yes, but content for the whole grains. Why we measure the whole grains? Because those moisture meters, they measure the whole grain. So when you grind, you find that there is a lot of elements you consider, and a lot of composition water you evaporate more than the linked surface moisture. So we use a lot of time because we measure the whole grain and not the grinded. We don't grind. That's why we take 8 hours. But you asked then another question, how many replicates we take? We have prepared our laboratory procedure where we take 5 replicates for every sample we measure. So for this one, we had 5 replicates for every sample. And you asked how do we do comparison between the oven and the moisture meters. As you see that when we say calibration, we do talk about comparison with the reference value. We use the oven as a method to get the reference value, where we measure the value of the moisture content of that sample with the oven. to get the reference value. Then we use that sample that was measured by using the oven with the known value. We use that as a reference material to calibrate the moisture meters. That's how we link the oven and the moisture meters. But there's something you said there. That's a way that you link the oven and the moisture meter. We use oven to make the reference value. Then we use that a sample that we have used to get the reference value. We use the reference material. Then we calibrate the moisture meter. Then you asked, how do we get the before calibration results and after calibration results? We got before calibration results before measuring the sample to the oven. When you haven't linked the oven method and the moisture meter, means you don't have the reference value. You measure that sample blindly, relying on the moisture content displayed by the moisture meters. That's how we get the pre-calibration. When you measure using the reference value, that means you get the moisture value by the moisture meters, but you know the reference value, which gives you the correction and brings you back to the reference values. And also you speak about repeatability. Of course, we considered repeatability and was one of the contributors. And when we measure with we considered repeatability for all in the oven and in the moisture meters. And as we say in the moisture meters, we didn't just make one reading. We were also making 5 readings for each meter, so as to get the repeatability. And also we considered as one of the contributing factor in the uncertainty. And my brother there, you asked 2 questions, but I just go to 1 question. I will ask you to repeat the first one. The second question you asked about the SI unit of traceability. Which SI unit did we trace? When we use the oven method as a reference method, we use we do a gravimetric weighing procedure where the traceability goes directly to mass. We do follow the procedure known as weight loss procedure, where you measure and you hit at a certain temperature for a certain time, then you weigh the sample after heat, then you get the difference in weight. So we directly trace to the mass. So I didn't get the first questions. If you can repeat, please.
I think the questions that were directed to Janita were from Dr. Caleb and...
Yeah, so the first question was, how do you account for other volatile compounds that are present in the grain?
Okay.
Okay. That's why when we consider the moisture content, that's why we measure that limited time. Following the standard that we are using, it is recommending at 8 hours, because when you eat after that hours, that's when you allow the other volatile matters. But for this part, we were considering the moisture content as water content. Thank you.
I've studied a lot about cereals and food control chains, and ladies are supposed to be protected. I request that we protect Janita in this meeting. Dr. Caleb and your colleague, Janita is here up to Friday. I'll hand her over to you in private. We can critique this work. I'm glad she made a presentation. At least we had a lady representing us in the EAMET committee. We shall critique the work. Yes, behind the tent. We shall meet behind the tent and we discuss other details related to moisture measurements.
No problem. Thank you for protection.
You're welcome, Janita. I'm going to request the last comments to come in from Mr. Tiedo or Pal. Then we can be able to conclude this session.
Okay. There is one thing I want to ask Mr. Akasha. Yeah, you said the error is 3% for custody transfer meter.
Okay, the initial COV was 3%, which was came from an institution, and we are using plus 3%. But later, with the weight and measure, it came plus minus 0.25%.
Okay, thank you. As we can see, for oil and gas, we can see the substantial financial cost when the error is too high. Like for now, you can see the crisis which is happening right now in oil industry. As the Strait of Hormuz is closed, you can see there is a hike in the prices of barrels of oil. So when we say like the error is like 3%, you can see the barrel price right now is $100 approximately. So we are talking about $3 per barrel as a loss. So when you see that one, I'm producing oil by million barrel per day. So the losses is too high. So such meters cannot be used for custody transfer between client in oil and gas sector. When I say like for 0.2%, I don't know for this one, which standard is it, but the standard we are using is API, American Petroleum Institute. That is stating the error to be less than plus or minus 0.1. So I hope I answer your question. The second question was from a gentleman. What's your name?
Joseph Kadenge.
Okay, Mr. Kadenge. You say, what's the traceability of our equipment to the international standard? For us, we do calibrate our equipments in Malaysia, as we have a third-party partnership with the Malaysian. We send our equipment annually for calibration. And also recently, we have sent, we have purchased prover tank that was tested and calibrated by Kenya Bureau of Standard here in Nairobi. For the second question, you were asking about our pipeline, which is going through to Sudan. First of all, there is partners or the owners of oil facility in South Sudan. It's not the government, but it is owners with the partnership with the government. So they own the oil facility. So before separation from Sudan, this oil facility was built, and the pipeline initially belonged to Sudan in general. So when separation happened, then the pipeline was left in Sudan, and the facilities are in South Sudan. So that's when they came with an agreement for oil transfer through the pipeline. So you are asking about if we have a will to join the East Africa pipeline. That one, I'm not able to answer it. It's the policymakers who are going to see how to handle this one. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tiedo, for all those responses. Team, I think it has come. We've all come to the end of our panel discussion. It has been a beautiful one, I believe. We may not have exhausted all the questions, but I think we've done well this afternoon. Please kindly join me with a loud applause to thank all the panelists for the responses and the answers they've given to all the questions that have been raised in this afternoon session. We'll do it the East African way, the way we do it in Uganda. I do the Asante Sana and we count. We count. Pa, 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 pa. Asante Sana. That was not loud enough. Asante Sana. Thank you so much. I request the panelists to take their seats in the audience as we move on to the next session of poster presentations.
Basi soma hiyo label 20023 tumakoda kikisha guarantee usipate umepima maji usipate umekupima maji single standard ya quality usipate cheki kama hustler fanya you wanna go faster 1545 see to come through see stress my soma hiyo label 20023 come through if you know what that means she can number 20023 slide through if you know what that soma hiyo Shika 023
Thank you. We are now going to handle I think the second last session on this program. That is poster presentation, stroke demonstration. First on stage, we are going to have Mr. Ronnie Mwiti Mwenda. Then after him, we shall have Joseph Mahila. We shall have Mr. Kipkemoy Kenneth Ketili. We shall have Adam Hooker and myself, Patrick Musazi, because we're going to present papers. Let's have 5 minutes for each paper of stroke poster presentation. Thank you.
Poster joke una standard quality utati dial hiyo number ukitaka guarantee hiyo ndio answer tuma SMS 023 check 023 nani kama 023 nani kama 023 basi soma hiyo label 023 tuma code hakikisha guarantee usipate umepima maji usipate umekupima maji single standard ya quality usipate cheki kama hustler fanya you wanna go faster 1545 see to come through see stress my guy 023 come through if you know what that means she can number 023 slide through if you know what that summer your label she can 023 okay your code better pay fika standard 023
Hello, good afternoon. I am Ronnie Mwenda from Kenya Bureau of Standards. I'll be taking you through density and viscosity measurements in enhancing consumer safety and protection. So as we all know, metrology is essential, and I'll mostly deal in density and viscosity in metrology and how it supports and enhances consumer safety. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. Is it visible? So I'll start with a simple introduction that metrology is essential in accurate and reliable and traceable measurements to protect the consumers in manufacturing, trade sectors, and also health. So our measurements in density and viscosity, they are mostly used to enhance customer trust, comply with national and international standards, and also prevent safety risk while in use. So, my voice is low. Okay. So, some of the equipments that we use in the lab. We have a density meter, as shown here, the oscillating type, that measures mainly liquid density using vibration, where different liquids have different vibration frequencies depending on their density, thus showing you its density. We have a glass capillary viscometer here. These are used in measuring the the viscosity of liquids and oils. We shall be discussing them later in the industries where they serve. We have hydrometers. Hydrometers here, these are glass, we could say maybe glass tubes with lead weights to give different densities. They're used in a food sector, as illustrated here, in the petroleum sector. We have rotary viscometers. These are used in a chemical industry to measure the viscosity of non-Newtonian fluids and their consistency. And we also have Newtonian viscosity liquids. These are mainly used in calibration of viscometers. Yeah, thank you. So some of the industries that are served. We have the petroleum industry, which is one of the most critical industries, as we all know. It's one of the reasons why we are here, all of us. It is also used in ensuring your safety, maybe, to check the blending of the petroleum fuels, such as the Jet A1, to ensure that once you're flying, the fuel does not freeze while in air. It is also used in a dairy industry to check the density of milk. Also ensures that it is not adulterated. Ensures that also in the dairy, once you're in the yogurt sector, it helps in ensuring that you have the consistent feel that you get when you're taking your yogurt. We also have the sauces that we have in ketchups and all that. The consistency is also ensured through testing of viscosity using this rotary viscometer here. We have the confectionery industry. The confectionery industry is, we check the density and viscosity measurements are used in ensuring the consistency of the taste, the feel of the chocolates. We have the pharmaceutical industry. Here in the health sector, you can check the concentration of alcohols in, you could say, where before you get treated, the ethanol. Also, we check the syrup and the brix concentration, the sugar concentration in the syrups that we give our children, the liquids that are used before we mix the syrups. We have in chemical manufacturing. Here we check, we are mostly concerned, it's mostly concerned in checking the consistency and mostly concerned in checking the consistency of the chemicals that are in production. And finally, it's also mainly used in the alcohol production. Checks helps for example, here in Kenya, the taxman in checking the alcohol percentage and how they'll use that to tax the alcohol. Also used in checking It's also used in checking for the alcohol production, also used in checking adulteration and purity of the alcohol that you use. So that is it in the industries that we serve. So that's all I have. So in conclusion, you can say that density and viscosity measurements used in various industries, mainly, as we've said, petroleum sector, to check adulteration, support custody transfer from one area to another, from maybe we can say from the Kenya pipeline, if it wants to sell it to, or to transfer their fuel to other oil marketers like Shell and Rubies. It is also checks the integrity of lubricants. The integrity of the lubricant is checked to check the engine, to conserve the engine life of your car, to check it also to ensure that you have a low wearing of points if the viscosity is too little. It also checks contamination, detects contamination and upholds public health standards in our food and beverage sector. So thank you, that's all I had for the presentation.
Thank you so much. Let's have Mr. Mahila Joseph on stage.
Watch how I put it 2 by 2. Niko na crew, now I'm chilling with the real ones. Yeah, I light it up with the real ones. 0023 tumakoda kikisha guarantee. Usipate umepima maji, usipate umekupima maji. Single standard ya quality. Usipotu cheki kama hustler. You wanna go faster, faster. 1545. See to come through, see stress myself. 0023 come through if you know what that means. She can number 2 0023. Slide through if you know what that's on my label. She got 023. Akayo code pata fika standard 2 0023.
Yeah, good evening. Joseph Bahila from Tanzania Bureau of Standards. My topic today is about road traffic accident that we always hear about, the clashes in the roads. Many people die and injury, and a lot of money in our government are used for compensation due to road traffic accident. Worldwide, about 1 to 2% of the GNP for the low developed countries are used in compensation. That is about 100 billion US dollar. But in return in Tanzania, the government is getting a loss due to compensation and the death of the people due to road traffic accident, and approximately 500,000 US dollar are used for compensation. So that is the big problem in Tanzania, I think also in the region. So my research was done using data was corrected, and we used a regulation mode, linear regulation mode. And I used road traffic accident as Y as our dependent variable, and also the explanatory variables such as poor manufacturing quality of the tire, improper tire inflation, temperature, worn out tire, and the overloading was the independent variable that was used. And I used the SPSS software to check on the contribution of that factors, especially. Yes? Yeah. So my findings was that those 5 factors that contribute to the road traffic accident through the burst of the tires, the most important thing that I saw was the inflation of the tire. That we always go to the filling station, we go for inflating our tires in the filling stations. We normally just go with a car, just parking and say, fill my car, without checking if that is the right amount of air that has been put in your tire. So after a certain time, you can find that you crash on the road due to the burst of the tire. There is 2 incidents that can cause burst of the tire through inflation. If it's either filled at the low level compared to the level that is recommended for the tire. So we can see that the first one with a green, that is the tire. If it's just completed and well filled in a recommended air pressure, you can see the tire will touch all the surface. But if the tire is under-inflated, that you can see the middle one, you will see that the tire will just touch on the both sides, the end and the other end, but at the middle will not touch the road or the surface of the road. Therefore, will cause the heating of the tire, and finally you will get a crash through bursting of the tire. And the overinflation, that is where you can see the last one, where only the middle of the tire will touch the road. But when you are traveling, especially when you are going very speed, you see that the tire at the middle will lose control and then can burst. That is how that 2 things can cause the tires to burst. Why this can happen? We realize that because we are going to the filling stations for inflation, the pressure gauges that are used for filling the tires, most of them are not calibrated. They don't know whether the inflated rate that in the tire pressure in the tire is the correct one. So they just put either they inflate or they under-inflate. That's where we get the problem of road traffic accident through the tire bursting. And therefore, we realize that the calibration of the pressure gauges that are used is very important, that we need to calibrate that pressure gauges so that to ensure that the pressure that are being inserted in the tire is the right amount that has been put in the tire. That is very important that we noted. And I don't know whether the other East African we are doing, but most of the Tanzanian inflators in the tire, they are not calibrating. They don't know even that they need to calibrate that pressure gauges, but they are very important to be calibrated. And therefore, the recommendation is that we have to look on our regulations to enforce that one, that we need to calibrate the pressure gauges that are used for inflating, the pressure gauges in our cars and the other things that we need. And therefore, we can reduce the road traffic accident through the tire bursting, especially when we put the correct amount of pressure air in our tire. Thank you very much. That is a short presentation.
Thank you, Joseph, for that insightful presentation. Yeah, now we know the dangers of overpressurization and underpressurization. So on stage, let me welcome Mr. Kipkemoy Kenneth.
Basi soma hiyo label 0023 tumakoda kikisha guarantee usipate umepima maji usipate umekupima maji single standard ya quality usipate cheki kwa mahasla fanyaji you wanna go faster 1545 si tuta come through si stress my soma hiyo label 0023 come through if you know what that means she can number 2023 slide through if you know what that soma hiyo label shika 023 wakai yo code better pay fika standard 2023 222 Acha bro unaweza shtuka na hii lifestyle jua standard na energy balance niki step in muad wa queen gallant fire in the booth wana nickname Metrology kwa bona tonight I wasn't born last night sijaribu kufit na sijalika star fitting na pewa allowance come here just for sitting niko pumped up na nikamela marketing ligi iko juu vibes iko juu 2002 before ni consume look iko juu maana ikikuwa mkuu 2023 before ni consume.
Good afternoon. My name is Kenneth Ketili. I'm a metrologist at Kenya Bureau of Standards and based in the thermometry section. Today, I'm going to present on the findings of a study that examined on the national records to understand the distribution, or rather the calibration that have happened across the different sectors. And to start with, for the temperature is actually universally measured. Just after time, it's most measured. And in most instances, our focus has been on the equipment performance, with limited mention on the macro level compliance patterns. That's why this study leveraged on the available data that is on our national calibration register, to which covered actually the year from 2023, 1st January to December 2025. And how the, what actually was our objective was, number one, to quantify on the sectorial demand. And number two was to examine on the distribution pattern of the different equipments. Number three was to analyze on the sectorial, to analyze on the disparities, that is the out of tolerance equipment, which we were in a position to find out that basing on the sectorial demand, the manufacturing sector actually emerged to be dominant in terms of the equipment that were received for the 3 years or the full 2 years from the 2023 to 2025. Followed closely by the trade and logistics, and finally the health sector. And what we can attribute to the manufacturing is that there is a chance that there is an increase in terms of the industrial automation. And that's why there are a lot of equipment that were received for calibration. And the second aspect that we can attribute to it is actually on the adoption of the ISO-based quality management systems. And number three aspect that we could attribute to is on the requirement by exporters in terms of the compliance. So that is what we could attribute to the manufacturing sector, why it actually dominated. And the health sector, comparing with the manufacturing sector, it reported actually the lowest number of equipment that we received during the period. And this could be attributed to the low population density from the health sector. And again, there is a potential that the health sector is not maximizing, or rather underutilizing the calibration service that is available. So what we can conclude from this sectorial demand is the aspect that there is actually an imbalance in the different sectors in terms of how they consume the calibration services. And on the second aspect, on the frequency distribution, that is the number of equipment that were received from the temperature laboratory specifically, is that the dominant equipment that were received were the catalogers. And at the lowest were the equipment, that is the thermometers that uses thermocouple as a sensor. Again, for the catalogers, they dominated, and the reason this could suggest that there is an increase still in terms of the automation monitoring systems. That's why the catalogers were actually having the highest number that were received. And the second thing that we can attribute to is that the growth in the pharmaceutical and the food storage compliance, which in most instances uses the catalogers for their monitoring of temperature. The other aspect that we can attribute to is the increase in terms of the reliance on continuous temperature recording. That's why there was actually an increase in terms of the catalogers that were received for calibration. And the thermocouples, or rather the thermometers that uses a thermocouple as a sensor, was actually at the lowest that were received during that period. And this is to say that it could suggest that there is a limited high temperature processes that, that needed recalibration. And the other aspect, which could be a possibility, is that there was an in-house verification. That's why we could not receive a number of these thermocouple equipment. And the other aspect, or rather from this frequency distribution, what is coming out clearly across this period is that for the country Kenya, because it was basically based in Kenya, the temperature metrology ecosystem is increasingly orienting, or rather it is oriented towards the cold chain and the environment monitoring, rather than the high temperature processes. And on the third aspect, that is the finding on the out of tolerance, which is basically in terms of compliance. Once these equipments were calibrated, again, the health sector reported the highest number of equipments that were out of tolerance, followed by the manufacturing, and at the lowest was the trade and logistics. Again, there was an issue here because as we see from the sectorial demand, we received less equipment from the health sector, but when it comes to the out of tolerance, or rather in terms of compliance, the health sector was leading. And what we could attribute to this, or what the factors that could have maybe led to this out of tolerance, is that, especially from the health sector, there must have been an issue with the calibration interval. There was actually kind of some extended calibration interval. And the other aspect we can attribute, which is common, is on the resources, the constraint of resources. Maybe that is why they could not maybe bring the equipment for calibration regularly. And the other aspect that we can attribute to it is on the limited preventive maintenance of this equipment. That is, those are some of the factors that we could attribute as to the reason why there was high percentage number of equipment that were out of tolerance. And for the trade, comparing trade and the health sector, which reported actually the lowest, what we could attribute to the trade is that the requirement of, or rather, for the trade purpose, whoever is doing trade will actually take responsibility. That is the commercial accountability. That's why we actually could attribute to the lowest equipment that were out of tolerance. And so what is coming out very clearly from the three findings that we were in a position to find out is that the health sector is more vulnerable. And there is something that needs to be done on it, basing on the findings that we are in a position to find out. And to conclude is that this demonstrates that calibration compliant disparities reflect broader structural and regulatory dynamics. Thank you.
Kisha guarantee usipate umepima maji usipate umekupima maji single standard ya quality usipate cheki kama hustler fanyaji you wanna go faster 1545.
Let me welcome Mr. Shuhak on stage.
Slide through if you know that's
Mr. Adam Huka, most welcome to the stage.
Another day, another risk to take. 200k ndo nipande kwa stage. Mkoro alinishow my son never settle for less. Maintain your preference, class and taste. Hiyo mali ni mbo kama ina stamp ya caps.
Johnny Siagi and Samaka Antonio are not, they are not present here with us, but I think Mr. Adam Huka is ready. He's actually yeah, we intend to be brief. Each presenter is given 5 minutes, and then we shall not have questions. You've seen the presenters, so you can approach them individually if you have questions.
Know that means she can number 2 023. Slide through if you know that summer your label. She got 023. Okay, your code better pay. Fika standard 2 003. 2 023. Bana 20023. Anakuchaja mi 00 fee. Clean deal kama dunge white here bit. Starting on biz lazima confirm real. Watipika signal control quality. Na bomba caps you go in heaven than quantity. Certified strong, sabi unachiki solidity. You got the got it, no guarantee. Kona sululu na finya 20023. Na kiga look na nya caps imeti. Mask and fitting cause side nimesi. Na play safe, you see what you wanna see. 20023. Anakuchaja mean 00 fee. Clean deal kama udunge white here bit. Standing on biz lazima confirm. Basi soma hiyo level 5 tumakoda kikisha guarantee usipate umepima maji usipate umekupima maji single standard ya quality usipate cheki kama hustler fanyaji you wanna go faster 1545 see to come through see stress myself.
Yes, good evening. Yes, my name is Adam Abdikadir from Mass Metrology, KEBS, Kenya Bureau of Standard. Therefore, my topic today is risk assessment of calibration practices of medical weighing devices and their impact on patient safety in neonatal, pediatric, and hemodialysis care. Okay. Therefore, this is my background. Accurate measurement of patients' body mass is essential for healthcare delivery. Patient's weight determines the drug dosage, neonatal growth monitoring, nutritional assessment, and filtration volume in hemodialysis. Uncalibrated weighing devices may drift over time. Okay. Okay. As I've said before, accurate measurement of patient body mass is essential for healthcare delivery. Patient weight always determines the dosage that is given out, the nutritional assessment, and also the ultrafiltration volume in hemodialysis. Therefore, uncalibrated weighing devices may drift over time, therefore introducing the kind of uncertainty that can affect treatment over decisions. Therefore, this is my objective, where we evaluated how calibration practices of medical weighing devices influence patient safety risk in neonatal, pediatric, and hemodialysis care. And the above is also my methodology, where I analyzed or evaluate 3 hospitals in our database. We have 3 hospitals that I evaluated over time in a period of approximately 3 to 5 years, whereby 3 hospitals that I evaluated is our client. One of the hospitals, they usually do their annual calibration. The second hospital, for the last 3 years, they failed to come the annual calibration, therefore they only came only once. And therefore the third one is that hospital, Hospital C, they never came for calibration in the period of 3 to 5 years, according to our database. Therefore, performance parameters that we considered was eccentricity, repeatability, and linearity test. Therefore, this is my charts, depending on the frequency of the calibration taken. Therefore, according to the relative risk level by calibration chart that we took, Hospital A, in terms of a risk level, gave us low. Therefore, it has a low risk because of the annual calibration that it is being done. Therefore, there's a frequency calibration which was being done. Therefore, the kind of risk level that it has, it was low. Hospital B, therefore, it expressed a bit of high in terms of risk level. Why? Because, therefore, this one usually fails to do its annual calibration. Therefore, it came after 3 years, which means that the likelihood for its calibration to be done was moderate. Therefore, the severity of kind of safety to the patient was high. That's what brought the risk level to be high also. Therefore, Hospital C, from my chart also, if you look at my chart, Hospital C also, this is the one which failed for the last 3 to 5 years, not to brought the equipment. The assumption is that also from the assumption was that from our database is that they have not calibrated the equipment within that period in a very important section of neonatal and pediatric, which is usually the accuracy of that equipment measurement usually goes between 0.1 kg to 0.01 kg. Therefore, the severity of that equipment is so high. Therefore, the risk level is also high. Therefore, Hospital C, if they fail for those period of time, it means that it raises the question whereby was the audit, there's a failure in audit to be done in that maybe hospital, and also the kind of adverse effect on human safety, which maybe if the investigation could be compounded or maybe done later, if we expound on our research, therefore it will also raise some issues. Therefore, those are the issues that we raised. In clinical implication, therefore, in neonatal and pediatric care, medication dosage depends on body weight. In hemodialysis treatment, weight determines fluid removal, which means that fluid removal, you may remove it maximum, or maybe you remove it less than required, which also result to safety of our patients, and also medical treatment will be hampered with. Therefore, inaccurate weight measurement may therefore affect the treatment outcomes at the end. Therefore, discussion, hospitals with regular calibration demonstrate lower measurement risk compared to those without a structured program. Therefore, in our calculation, we say that calibration frequently directly influences measurement reliability. Regulation of equation improves safety, also patient safety. Simply, in our recommendation is that as stakeholders also may sit together with the policymakers to improve on how hospitals or medical facilities calibration may be done to be on a permanent basis, or the authorities can look at that. An oversight should be done on a medical facilities so that we can reduce those kind of implications. Thank you.
so the phone me collect 20023 we legit caps if we really tryna figure here standard if I'm on a beat quality that's a banger check stamp so that I miss a fish product certified catch to me wajibika I got on a beat so I eat Elisha Jeno got the key kinda something like Alicia Sawa basi certified she kick it with me kinda something like 20023 certified she kick it with me kinda something like 20023 20023 you can't do anything 1545 you can confirm one time with the butter what you really want what you prefer basi sama hiyo label 20023 tumakoda kikisha guarantee usipate umepima maji usipate umekupima maji single standard ya quality usipate cheki kama hustler fanya you wanna go faster 1545 see to come through see stress my soul your label 20023 come through if you know what that means she can number 20023 slide through if you know what that's on my label she got you.
Okay, the last presenter. My name once again is Patrick, is Tom Saz from Uganda National Bureau of Standards. I have a paper that examined the use of voltage drop method to accurately measure resistance. This is now in the electrical sector. So we carried out this intercomparison between us. It was a bilateral intercomparison between UNBS and National Metrology Institute of South Africa, and the ranges were 1 ohm, 10 ohm, 100 ohm, 1 kilo ohm, and 10 kilo ohm. So we wanted to examine how we can accurately measure resistance using voltage drop. Voltage drop, you pass or you let a current of known quantity to flow through a resistor, and then using a digital multimeter that is also calibrated, you measure the voltage. So basically the source, which is the current source, has to be very accurate and calibrated. Then you generate that current to go through the resistor, and then accurately measure voltage using digital voltmeter. This is basically a low-cost method. You know, some countries have gotten advanced systems that can measure resistance and achieve higher uncertainty values. But we wanted to demonstrate that even using the low-cost method, using the calibrator and digital multimeter, you can be able to achieve even comparable results. Various methods have been used, like the direct method, substitution method, current comparator, and also the quantum Hall. Now, the quantum Hall and the potentiometric methods are quite expensive. These are expensive ventures. You need to deploy expensive machines because you want to reduce your uncertainty, to have a low uncertainty. But if you don't have that infrastructure, then you can use the voltage drop method. It will give you good results. As you can see, okay, before we go there, let me first show you. We have that equation up there. That is Ohm's law. So basically, we use the Ohm's law. Most of your scientists remember Ohm's law. So we use that Ohm's law to measure resistance accurately. So this is the kind of setup. That box, small box thing you see is a standard resistor that we are measuring. And then we let current from the generator. The generator is the calibrator down there. On top, there's a digital multimeter. So we passed the current through a resistor and measured it using a digital multimeter. So using Ohm's law, you can be able to calculate the value of resistance So from these results, clear you can see that 1 ohm, we were able to get a correct value in comparison with the NIMISA. The NIMISA was the pilot lab. You can see that line. That means we almost got the same value as the NIMISA. The only difference is the uncertainty. Because now we use the voltage drop method, the uncertainty was a little bit larger compared to NIMISA. So that means if you want to achieve basically lower uncertainties, your system has to be better. So when you go to 10 ohm, again, the values were quite good, and the uncertainty was smaller. So same applies to the 100 ohm and 1,000 and 10,000 kilo ohm. So basically, the voltage drop method achieved comparatively good results as compared to the digital bridge, the DCC bridge, the direct current comparator that NIMSA deployed. So, and this method, the voltage drop method outperforms the substitution method and the direct method. So if you want to achieve better results and probably don't have the expensive systems, you can still use the voltage drop method to achieve even good results. Yeah, that's what I want to present to you today. It shows our measurement capabilities in Uganda, so we can able measure accurately and also be comparable with better NMIs. Thank you very much. That marks the end of my presentation. I'm going to invite Mr. Kobo to come and conclude with some information. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick, for that presentation. That's really insightful for electrical metrology space and for some of our countries that are still developing their electrical measurement capabilities. We've had a very wonderful day and we have come to a close. I want to say we had a very engaging panel discussion. The question raised by the audience and the responses by the panelists really highlighted the essence of this conference, to bring in new ideas and to share our capabilities across the region. The presentations from weights and measures around policy, the last part of our presentation today on metrology practice and how we do measurements. That was great. I want to make a few announcements. One is the committee members. I'm reminding you about our meeting after this, after the end of day, so we'll have our tea and we'll come back and have a meeting. Secondly, again for the committee members, let's meet outside and take a photo. We'll need to remember that we did a good work setting up this conference. Number two, we have some of our partners who supported us in this conference, and we'll be giving them an opportunity tomorrow to talk to us and share with us what they do in this space in supporting metrology, in supporting measurements in general. We have Estech Kenya Limited, who's a leading provider and service of analytical laboratory equipment. So tomorrow morning, a representative from Estech will be talking to us. Secondly, we have Micro and Small Enterprises Authority, which is a state corporation that promotes, develop, and regulate MSMEs in Kenya. We'll also give them an opportunity to talk to us and share with the audience the kind of work they do. Number three, for Muslim brothers, package is ready. I was told yesterday that it's called Iftar, and you'll be collecting it after we've closed as we head out. Thank you, everyone. I would like to welcome Florence, our colleague from Weights and Measures Kenya, to close this session with a word of prayer. Thank you.
Hatujambo, tusimame tushukuru Mwenyezi Mungu. Tumekuwa na siku refu na mafunzo mengi na ametujalia kufika jioni hii njema. Let us pray. Mighty and everlasting Father, we come before you this evening, thanking you for the opportunity that you have given us today to learn from each other, dear Father. As we go back to our stations and even to tour the town, we ask that you will be with us and be our protection, dear Father, until we meet here tomorrow. It is in Jesus' name we do pray and believe.
Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Yes. I wish to clarify there is tea outside. Please enjoy.